Hello, everyone. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome back to our weekly webinar. We're starting our webinar mapping out a week ahead. And as I like to quote other traders, they like to say, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. So it makes a week different when we have a plan, at least an idea what's happening, what's waiting for us, and we can kind of create a structured way of trading. And in other aspects of our life, it's really, really important to have a plan. This way, things are more organized and less impulsive. Few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I think I'm going to change this number. It's officially 24 years. I started to trade in June of 2000 as a prop trader on Wall Street. And since then, I'm really fascinated about the markets. It's a very interesting environment, to say the least. And after 11 years of prop trading, I moved into a less stressful environment, and I also started to mentor and trade others and educate other traders. And currently, I'm very happy to have a great opportunity to assist our traders at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar, usually we speak about indices, stocks, commodities, Forex. We talk a little bit about fundamentals. We go through economic calendar. So today we'll stick to the plan. Risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com. And of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. Social media channels. I highly recommend for you to subscribe and follow us on the social media. You have Telegram, you have X Twitter, which is X now, and AvaTrade YouTube channel, which is my favorite for a reason. You have a lot of information there, updated, upgraded on daily basis. So please subscribe, click on that bell so you'll be notified when new things coming out. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, please don't hesitate to click on likes so more people can watch it. Also, feel free to share. And please write your comments. I don't see many comments, but I see a lot of people watching it. So please, it doesn't take a lot of effort to write something if you feel like it, and also to click the likes if you do like it. Okay, we're gonna move on. As you know, sometimes I like to bring these slides here, and I have two controversial ones, so I want to share with you. This is from marketwatch.com. You can read nice articles. This is one in favor to the market. It says stock market is defying sell in May and go away. Why the U.S. presidential election could aid summer rally. So as we know, we have elections in U.S. coming up in November, I believe, and article speaks about the details, gives you also some statistics, some possibilities of the market, and why they say sell in May and go away didn't work. That's one of the things that traders use. Sometimes it works when they sell and cover it after the May is over. This time we had a strong May. We went up on the markets. We can take a look at the monthly chart soon. So this is the positive thing. On the flip side, which is the market, the beautiful thing about the markets, there's always at least two opposite opinions. So some of the analysts are thinking actually that we should be cautious and the market could actually be dropping. And also very interesting article here with statistics and ideas. So it's a good thing to have both sides and learn a little bit about what they think. So you can find these articles on marketwatch.com. They're published by Barron's. This is something that I wanted to share with you. This is the 10-year yields. As you know, markets are very sensitive to it. Usually when the yields going up, it affects the market in a negative way. Also, it pushes the dollar higher and affects the gold. So take a look. We did have a nice move on 10-year yields to the upside above 460, and the last two sessions were sold, and that's something to pay attention to. We're coming to this level of 445 with a lot of actions were here. If you look to the left, then we broke to the downside, retested 432, and then we moved higher, breaking through the previous high. So we are 2 sessions, we went down on the 10-year yields, and markets, of course, were affected as well. We had the sell-off in the market. That then Friday we have a recovery towards the end of the session after the economic data was released. So that's something to watch. Okay, we're going to move now to the terminal, and we'll start with indices. And let's start with China. As China couldn't hold this level of 12.5. Thursday we closed lower, and Friday we moved even lower from here, and we did close below the 50-day moving average on the Chinese index. So let's see how this week will play out. And as you know, I usually bring 4 assets that are very sensitive to the Chinese market, and that's oil, copper, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. So let's take a quick look at them before we forget, and then we'll return to analyze it a little bit deeper. So as we said, China index went down, so ideally crude oil would be reacting, and it did go down. Copper as well, it did break down from the previous immediate support here. And Australian and New Zealand dollar, let's take a look what they did. They went up with the weakness of US dollar. So not so much influence here due to the Chinese market. Okay. All right. So let's move to US indices, and Dow Jones was strong on Friday. The previous few sessions were the sell-off in 2 major stocks, more than that, but two main ones. We had the move down in Salesforce and United Health. So I just want to bring the MT5 and show you those 2 stocks so you can see the positive move on Friday. Dow Jones was totally connected to some recovery in those 2 stocks. So this is the Salesforce ticker CRM. There was a gap, and we went lower, and then Friday was a little bit of recovery, pretty nice one, from 219 to about 233, 34. So that's the Salesforce, and here comes the United Health. Also, the stock's been selling, and Friday was a nice move. We returned the losses of the previous 2 days, and we could be on the way to close the next gap. So those 2 stocks added to a positive move in Dow. Let's go back to the indices. Here we go. Here's the daily move on Dow Jones. Same thing, take a look. The 2 previous days of losses were recovered in one move on Friday. On the week, we still finish in red. Let's move back to MT4. So here's Dow Jones. We're still below the 50 and 100 moving average. We'll be watching how this week will play out. I have to go back. We forgot about the economic calendar. So in a minute, I'm going to finish with indices already, and then we'll move to economic calendar, which is important. S&Ps, also nice recovery on Friday. This move happened after the release of the economic data, of the inflation data. We're still in red for the week. The same thing on NASDAQ. Just want to bring you the S&Ps and show you the dynamics, what happened here. So initially, here comes the number that the Feds are watching, the expenditure, personal expenditure number, the inflation number. Market reacted in a positive way. It was close to the predictions. And then right after the first 30 minutes of the move up, we did sell in the markets. S&Ps went below 5209, and then at the opening of the market, exactly. No, actually, this is the GMT time. So at 4:30 GMT, out of nowhere, the move came. We did break the previous high. That was the reaction to the numbers, and we closed at the highs of the day. And That's very strong. It looks like the traders didn't want to be short into the weekend. So we are trying to climb and retest those highs around 5,300 on S&Ps. Right, let's return back to presentation. This is the economic calendar. I apologize for missing it. So for new people, this is public data. You can find it on our web trader or the mobile app. Also, you can just Google it. A lot of third-party providers showing these numbers. What I do here, I take only high impact events. You can do search and filtering through all the events and see what's relevant for your trading. Also here, the time zone GMT, you can set up your local time if you like. So again, here I just take out the high impact events, and people like to ask, is it important to follow economic calendar? Everybody has their own way of following and using it, but I believe that every trader, every active trader must know about these things. It's already secondary what you do with it, but to know that the certain thing will come out at a certain time, it's important because you don't want to be caught by surprise by the spike in the market and you have no idea why. So the key events for this week, it's a non-farm payroll from the US and the interest rate decision from European Central Bank. There are other things happening as well, so let's just go through them. We have manufacturing PMI from China. We have also manufacturing PMI from US. We have CPI data from Switzerland. We have Wednesday GDP numbers from Australia, service PMI from China, ADP employment data. It's kind of preliminary. It's funny, this time they show the same numbers. The ADP is predicting 180 jobs added, and NFP's the same numbers. So very interesting how Wednesday will show, is it going to really match the actual numbers when they come on Friday. Interest rate decision from Canada. Canadian dollar, we'll take a look in a moment. It's been building up a little bit of a strength. Maybe they know something. PMI service, PMI from US on Wednesday as well. Thursday, it's all about European Union. Before that, we have the trade balances from Australia. Then we have retail sales and monetary policy and decision and press conference 30 minutes later from EU. Friday is the day. Starts with GDP numbers from European Union. It says right here, European Parliament elections. And NFP numbers from US, of course, unemployment and other data coming in, and also employment data from Canada. Usually they come together the first Friday of the month. So these are the things to expect. Again, if you just go through that, definitely Canadian dollar should be watched. Anything to do with euro on the decision of European Central Bank, of course, it will also be affecting the DAX, the European index, the German index, the leading one. And here, of course, the US market will be reacting to NFPs as a lot of it to do with Feds. And as I mentioned a lot, the Feds are looking at the state of the economy, they look at the employment, and they look at the inflation. And I think I might have made a mistake in the last webinar. For some reason, I thought that CPI numbers are coming this coming week as well, and the decision of the Feds, but it is next Wednesday on the 12th. So this week, as far as the data that's being watched by Feds, we have the employment data coming in. Okay, let's return to the terminal here. So we went through indices. Let's just take a quick look at European. So here's DAX. It did move higher on Friday after hitting the 50-day moving average here. We did try to move higher here, breaking the previous high, where we came right back. So as of now, it looks like we've been making a series of lower highs and lower lows, but we did stop on the 50-day moving average here. So let's see how that European Central Bank decision will be affecting the DAX, and of course we'll be seeing what the American market is doing as well. UK FTSE, Thursday and Friday, we had a nice recovery here after this recent sell-off. We didn't touch the 50-day moving average. The buyers came in. So let's see how this week plays for the UK. Okay, let's move to the stocks. We spoke about the United Health and the Salesforce. They had a nice recovery on Friday. Let's see if that move continues. Now, last week we spoke about potential moves on Exxon and Chevron as the oil was strong. Take a look. Nice towards the end of the week. We had a Thursday a move up and Friday a strong move up actually when the oil was selling. That's very interesting. So both Exxon and Chevron had a strong move on Friday. Maybe they knew something because at the moment when we get to oil, I'll share with you some fundamentals news that could be affecting oil in a positive way. So maybe the stocks were reacting to it already. Now, also we had some signs of recovery on the stocks that were really beaten up. Intel, Friday, after the Thursday flat day, Friday we tried to recovery here. The stock's been super weak. Disney, the same thing. Friday move brought us back to the previous resistance here around 103, 104. Let's see if they are stuck in move, or I get some energy to move higher from here, or we return right back. Also Nike, the past few sessions, when the market was selling, actually the stock went straight up, and we could be on the way to retest this previous resistance around $95. Also, Johnson & Johnson, after this recent sell-off, if you remember, I shared with you that the group of cancer survivors are taking the company to court for some criminal actions with their creating these offshore companies and avoiding payments on the cases. 3 consecutive sessions to the upside on Johnson & Johnson. Now, the big boys, let's take a quick look. Microsoft sold after this double top, you can say. Meta having a hard time breaking through the 50 moving average, sitting right on a 100 moving average here. Netflix as well having a hard time breaking this 650. Apple, after confirming this 186, we had a nice move to the upside. We are at 192. It looks kind of strong. The strength looks like returning to the shares of Apple. Amazon experiencing some pressure. Very important to notice this Friday as the market recovered toward the end of the week, at the end of the session. Amazon actually sold into the end of the day, so it just went weak on the strong closing of the market, something worth watching. So that means potentially if the market gets weaker the upcoming week, the Amazon could continue lower. Tesla, hard to say anything. Something's cooking here. You see it's been flat for a long time within $5-6 range. We've been sitting there for almost 3 weeks. Something is cooking in Tesla. I think we might hear some news one way or another on it. Google, after showing a brand new high here with the strength, we've been sliding a little bit lower here. And let's wrap it up with Teva. Teva is really holding to these levels after a nice move to the upside. Teva Pharmaceutical, for new people, we've been following this stock. I've been talking about it a lot. It goes back to these times here from last summer. We spoke about Teva moving between $7 and $11. Then we said if it breaks 11, it could go to 14. We did break 14 very strongly. They got some new data on their trial on some psychiatric medicine. And also we spoke a few weeks back, some analysts are setting up a target price of $19 for Teva Pharmaceutical. Been looking very nice here, slowly stepping up. Okay, that's it with equities. Let's move to commodities. And we'll start with oil, as I promised you. Today, actually, the OPEC Plus meeting, they decided to continue their cuts and not to increase any production. And the goal of the OPEC Plus is to actually bring the oil price higher. And I guess Exxon and Chevron reacted to it, maybe knowing or guessing the outcome. They couldn't probably know the outcome, but Friday they already moved higher strongly. Oil, on the other hand, has been selling for 3 consecutive sessions here. If you remember, I mentioned to you, this looked like head and shoulder formation that some traders would be looking into it as a shorting opportunity. Again, it's not in stone. It doesn't work all the time, and it's also very subjective. So it's hard to say will it work this time. I guess we'll see Monday how oil reacts to that OPEC's decision. And as I said, they are looking to hold those cuts into the end of next year, 2025. So let's see how that will affect oil. Now, natural gas. We had a change of contracts here, and we did close the gap between the contracts. We closed at 257. Again, for new people, something that I kind of noticed here, that kind of a 4-year cycle that happened 2016, 2020, and now 4 years later, as you can see, the same intervals of 4 years where the buying triggered right here. It triggered March, April of 2016. Here, there was a lot of moves here, and then in June, July, natural gas started a strong move to the upside. And here again, we are, after making or breaking through the previous lows, we have so far 2 consecutive months. May was very strong to the upside. So we'll be watching on potential move higher. And of course, the opposite scenario, we could be selling as well. So we'll be watching what's happening with natural gas. Now, metals sold towards the end of the week. Gold sold, but it's still holding through this initial low of around 23.26, 23.27. That's exactly where we close. So if gold should go lower here, we need to see closing below this large candle of May 27th. We are below the 50-day moving average. Somehow we are holding this level very, very strongly. Also silver, after holding very strongly the last 2 sessions, we had a sell-off. So we should be watching, should we come close to this level, this previous support here around $30. Copper, as we said when we looked at China, it's been selling 3 consecutive sessions. We are on the 50-day moving average here. Let's see if we hold. Now, we've been talking about fundamentals. There's a high demand on copper, a lot of it to do with the new AI technology and the hardware that supports it. So we'll be continuing watching what's happening with copper around here. Palladium, we did break through the 950 support right here, and we're testing the next support, which would make it a triple bottom here. February 28th, May 2nd, and we're testing it again. We did close at 920.70, 50 cents below the previous low. So let's see what happens here in palladium in the upcoming week. Now let's take a look at the grains. If you remember a few weeks back, I mentioned there are some positive things fundamentally that U.S. administration approved some kind of tax benefits to farmers that are growing corn and soybeans as it's being used and producing the aviation fuel. So corn had a nice move there. Then we went zigzagging there. We are sitting on 50-day moving average here, and also about the same support that we had back in the beginning of May. Soybeans as well, similar story. We are testing this previous support. And wheat as well had a nice move to the upside. And the last week we've been selling here. So that's as far as the grains. And let's take a quick look at cocoa. Cocoa had a nice recovery after this triple attempt to sell around 7,000. The past few weeks we've been actually climbing higher. And as of now, we are trying this previous resistance. We see if we can break it. It's around 94, 9,500. We are above the 50-day moving average, holding very strongly here. Again, for people that are not familiar with cocoa, all this move up was caused by physical shortage of cocoa. There's some issues with the places that grow cocoa in Western Africa, Ivory Coast specifically, and was caused by the weather. And it was a panicky move up to the upside as the shortage was significant. Then we had a nice correction here after hitting the high of 11,700, excuse me, on April 19th. Then we came all the way down to a low of 69.85, a small recovery, down again, small recovery, down again, and now we just made a high here. So we'll be watching what's next with cocoa. This could be the top, or this could be the preparation of retesting the highs again. That's very interesting. We're going to watch that. Okay, let's move to Forex. We'll start as usual with dollar index. Dollar index has been playing with this 104.80, 105 level. We did move on Wednesday higher than Thursday and Friday with this sell. We are below that level. So we are between the 50 and the 200 moving average on dollar index. This week, of course, we have the decision for European Central Bank. Of course, dollar will be affected as the pair is the mostly traded Euro USD. And NFPs, of course, will be affecting the dollar as well. So if you look at euro dollar, we back into this channel between 108 and 109, as we mentioned. GBP, we did retest the top of the channel this past week. You remember the 200 pips was in play for a very long time, and we came back to this channel here between 126, 128. We entered the mid-May, and we went up, and then on the 28th, we did retest the high, rejected the price, came back to 127. So we're building up some strength here between 127 and 128. Yen, dollar yen's been holding strongly. The weakness of the yen's been continuing. No actions from Bank of Japan. The following week, we have some fundamentals that could affect it, but as of now, yen continues to be weak. USD CAD, the last two sessions, dollar sold, and as I said, Canadian dollar became a little bit strong. Maybe they are expecting some actions or lack of actions from Bank of Canada the upcoming week. As we said, Australian and New Zealand dollar didn't react in weakness to the Chinese market going lower. We are in a very interesting territory here in Australian dollar. As you could see here, the resistance was in play for a while. We broke above, below, and then above that level again. So we could be building some strength here. And if it continues, we might continue higher, retest the recent highs. Or if we dive below again, we might be shopping for the next support. New Zealand dollar looks very strong here. Not to forget, the big picture has been actually weak for a long time, and this recovery has been holding nicely. So it started at the beginning of May. So you could see here, we had 3 consecutive sessions, established new support and moved higher, and we're holding this support right here. So it could be if we see the weakness in US dollar, we might see continuation to the upside on New Zealand dollar. Swiss franc regaining its strength after being weak. If you remember, the Swiss National Bank pioneered in cutting the interest rate. None of the banks done it yet. So, and that caused a lot of weakness in Swiss franc. And the last two sessions, Swiss franc regained its strength. Of course, the dollar was weaker as well. But if you take other pairs with Swiss franc, you could see it regaining nicely, especially with Japanese yen. Take a look, the whole week, it's really a strong move to the upside. And we closed at 174.24. We could be on the way to retest the highs of 175. Definitely CHF JPY will be watching that. And ZAR, USD ZAR worth watching. Even on the weak dollar, ZAR was much weaker this coming week, this past week actually, sorry. And the elections happened on 28, and right after that, 29, sorry, the same day, there was a move on ZAR to the downside. This is dollar ZAR, so it's the opposite direction, and then it continued. So let's see if we stop here and do correction, or we continue here to the previous highs on USD ZAR. Okay. So again, this week we're gonna watch Canadian dollar. We're gonna watch euro on the decision from European Central Bank. And one more thing I just wanted to share with you. We didn't talk about it for a long time. USD, Norwegian krona, and NOK. Here, if oil decides to move higher here, we might see some moves on this pair USD NOK, as Norway is one of the producers of oil as well, and prices of oil affect the currency as well. So definitely we'll be watching that. As of now, we're sitting here on this level, on the previous level from which we started the move pretty much back in March, and then we came right back. So let's see what happens with NOK in the upcoming weeks. And let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is holding and waiting for something, 67,000 as we speak. This is the level where we stopped before retesting the lows. That was April 22nd, that we moved below 60,000. With a little bit hard way to recover, we moved back to 71.5. And now we're retesting this level around 67,000 as possible strong support and possible preparation to the move higher. So if we are moving higher, this level of 71,500 potentially could be a strong resistance, and it looks like we're holding. And of course, if we do break below 67,000, it opens the way of further correction to around 65,000 as well. I didn't see any fundamentals, so maybe we'll hear some fundamentals from the cryptocurrencies in the upcoming week. Okay, so again, economic calendar, we have Bank of Canada, European Central Bank, interest rate decision, and NFPs on Friday is very, very important. Please follow us on social media. If you're watching on YouTube, please click on likes, share, write your comments. We'll really appreciate that. And I'm looking for those comments, and I'm always trying to improve things. Thanks again. I wish you a good weekend. Get some energy. We're going to have an intense week as always. The May is over. We're entering June, and it's going to be a lot of actions. So have a plan, protect your capital, have your risk management in place, and have a wonderful and successful week. All the best.